Welcome to Spark Rugby League. The England squad's just been announced. Shaun Wane has announced his first England squad, as well as Paul Anderson announcing an England Knights squad. There's some notable absentees, including Gareth Widdop, Jackson Hastings, Blake Austin. Some notable inclusions. Jack, what do you make of the squad?
I like it. I think all eyes were on Shaun Wane, and people were wondering who he would include in his first squad. And I think there are a couple of surprise inclusions, but deserved ones. Paul McShane, I think, is one that will have a lot of people talking. He's been someone that's been touted for that squad for years, and a lot of people think that he deserves that international recognition, and has never got it up until possibly now. Whether he'll make the final cut for the 24th of the Ashes at the end of the year is yet to be seen. But still, to have him involved and have him there as an option is brilliant. I think another big one I think is Harry Newman. He's been one of the standouts for Leeds this season, and possibly the best young centre that England have at their disposal at the minute. So I don't think there's much surprise to see him in there, but at the same time it'd be brilliant to see him on the international stage and see how he'd test himself against the best players in the world in that position. So I think that's one that I'm really pleased about. And in that same position as well, Josh Griffin, who I think is another player that in recent years with Hull has really come on. He's been in the game a while, had spells with Wakefield and Castleford where he was sort of a bit part player, played on the wing a bit, played in the centre, and was there as a bit of a backup. He was never sort of commanding a first team position. Whereas he's gone to Hull, bulked out with it and become a really strong athletic centre going forward, and is arguably one of Hull's biggest attacking threats. So again, another one that's deserved of his place in there.
Now, I think the thing that stands out as well is a lack of halves now.
Yeah.
When you're looking at that squad, we've also got, we should mention an NRL watch list, what they've included in there. All the names you'd expect are in there. And George Williams is one of the names in there. Now he, along with Johnny Lomax, and who's the other half?
Luke Gale.
Luke Gale, yeah, that's a bit of a surprise maybe as well for Luke Gale to stay in there. So what do you think Shaun Wane's thinking in that position?
Well, I think that's a really interesting one, is that lack of halves. I mean, if we look at, if we're not counting the NRL players, there are only the two halves that we mentioned in Lomax and Gale, and if you compare the England squad, which made up the bulk of that Great Britain squad that toured New Zealand towards the back end of last year, obviously not a successful tour, but how many halves did Wayne Bennett take? Around 7 or 8, something like that. You had there were Lomax, Williams, Austin, Hastings, Widdop, Truman. I think that might be it. I'm not sure. But to cut at least half of those players out, including Hastings and Austin, who made huge waves when they were picked. That was a big controversial move from Wayne Bennett. To drop those players entirely, for me, is a big statement of intent from Shaun Wane, and that's sort of a message saying, I'm going to pick these British players because they'll have pride in this jersey. They'll want to play for the country, want to represent England, and I think it's probably the best move.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of disruption caused by the likes of not by the players themselves, Hastings and Austin, but perhaps their inclusion might have, and I know it certainly rocked the fan base, and perhaps might have had a similar effect on the players. We're not too sure, but the fact that you've got the likes of Lomax and Gale, who's already started showing it well for the Rhinos at the start of this season, is a real positive, I think, going forward. And I think it's something that we really expected from Shaun Wane, was for him to pick these English players. So it's an interesting move. I certainly don't think that he'll discount the likes of. I mean, he's not going to discount George Williams, obviously, depending on how he does in the NRL. But at the same time, you look at the likes of Jake Truman, for example, Danny Richardson, both of who have been named in that England Knights squad. I don't think he'll discount them completely. Harry Smith's another one who's starting to cement a place almost in that Wigan squad. So he has only named 2 in this elite performance squad, but I think he'll definitely have eyes on guys that he's left out of it as well.
So there's a few notable omissions as well. Gareth Widdop being one of them, Jake Connor another, and Ash Hanley also last season prolific for Leeds. He's not in there. So what do you make of that? What do you think Shaun Wane's thinking is?
I think there's part of it that's going off form. I don't think many people have been too impressed by Gareth Widdop's start to his Super League career with Warrington. I think it's probably safe to say he was a little bit of a passenger against Leeds last week, and he's not really sort of having the desired impact that Steve Price wanted him to make. So for me, Widdop's It's a surprising one because again he's been a mainstay in that England
Yeah.
squad for years now. He's been the go-to halfback almost, and it's almost been a case of trying to accommodate him in the squad. He's partnered the likes of Gale, Lomax, Williams, but he's always been the one that's held his position. So that was a surprise. But if you are going on form, then you can't really pick him in that side. Connor again is a weird one because the one thing I've always thought about Jake Connor is. The one thing I think a lot of people think is that his attitude sort of holds him back slightly. He's not as composed as he could be. At certain times, he can get quite irate and frustrated easily. There's no doubting again that he's a quality player. He's got it all almost. He's got the flair, he's got the handling, he's got the agility and the pace. But perhaps his attitude is something that Shaun Wane isn't a fan of. But I think having someone like him in there that's got the versatility that he has, and that he can play in the halves and the centres at full back. He's one of those players you can possibly chuck on and just hope that he can produce this moment of magic. That's something that I've always thought would be quite an asset to the England squad. And so out of all of the omissions, he's the one that's really surprised me, Jake Connor, in that he's arguably one of the most naturally talented ball players that we've got in this country, but he's for some reason not made the squad. So. Yeah, he's definitely a strange one. Handley as well, you mentioned. Obviously, Leeds' top try scorer last year, just narrowly missed out on being Super League's top try scorer, and I thought he'd do enough to warrant a place in the squad. But you look at who has been chosen over him. We've got Josh Charnley, Tom Johnson, Jermaine McGilvery, Tom Makins, and Don Manfredi. I think definitely at least 4 out of the 5 of those players you could probably say what they've done historically in the past, for their club sides and for England. I think in the sense of Charlie Makinson and McGilvery, you could say probably put them in front of Hanley. But I think Manfredi's a weird one. That's maybe that Wigan connection coming in, that Wayne knows the kind of personality and kind of player that Manfredi is firsthand. So that could be a bit of that Wigan link. But I think all 3 of those players could be in the squad. I think, like I said, Widdop's the one that probably doesn't deserve his place on current form, but I think Handley and Connor definitely could be looked at in future. Again, this is just sort of the elite performance squad, that he could easily bring those players in if he so desired. But yeah, very 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 interesting selection of players, I think.
And we've got a lot of young talents knocking around in Super League at the moment. I think perhaps more young players given a chance now than ever before, and that's highlighted by the night squad. We see a lot of players in there. Are there any surprises in and amongst that lot?
I think there's a few really good stories. I mean, Matty Ashton at Warrington's one that he's really impressed, and he's exploded onto the scene almost. I mean, I think it's 2 years or so ago he was playing for Rochdale Mayfield, amateur level, and now he's not only lining up in Super League for Warrington, but he's on the verge of international call up. So that's superb for someone like him. But you mentioned there are so many young, fresh players that we've got to call on. This night squad is full of exciting talent. Harry Smith, I think I mentioned earlier, at halfback, he's been touted as one of the real stars of the future for that Wigan side. He's been given a few games at the start of this season by Adrian Lammen, and that's fully deserved. I think he's been their captain at academy level for the past 2-3 years, captained them to academy championships, and also led from the front in the England schoolboys win over the England academy win over the Aussie schoolboys a couple of years ago. So he's a real talent to look out for. You look through this night's list. There's so many names that stand out as guys who are already top talents in Super League, and are just waiting in the wings almost to make that step up. We've talked about Matty English, for example, at Huddersfield, really big mobile prop. Jake Bibby at Wigan, obviously former Salford, really impressed last year. Ollie Partington and Morgan Smithies, part of that young new Wigan forward pack that's coming through. So there's so many to choose from, and again I think it's good for Shaun Wane that he's got that option of calling on that night squad should he think he needs to.
So we'll quickly just run through both the squads. If you're wondering and watching this video thinking what are the squads, we'll start off. Do you want to start off with the senior squad?
I'll go the senior squad. I'll do position order. So fullbacks we've got Sam Tompkins, Stephen Ratchford, Zach Hardacre, and a first inclusion for Niall Evalds, who we've not really touched on, but again, a very much deserved selection. On the wing, we've got Josh Charnley, Tom Johnston, Jimmy McGilvray, Tommy Makinson, and Don Manfredi. Centre options, we've got Oliver Gildart, Josh Griffin, Harry Newman, Rhys Lynn, Mark Percival, and Dan Sargentson. The halves we mentioned, Luke Gale and Johnny Lomax. Props, we've got Mike Cooper, who returned to that England squad after a fair few years away. Chris Hill, Joe Philbin, Scott Taylor, Luke Thompson, Alex Walmsley, and another deserved call for Liam Watts as well. A lot of people pleased to see him in there. Hookers, Darryl Clark, Paul McShane and James Roby. And finally the back rowers, Ben Curry, Liam Farrell, Jack Hughes and Josh Jones.
It's a very impressive squad. Now, if you want the England night squad, you can search for yourself. I think it's quite a big squad as well. So yeah, are you excited by Shaun Wane's first England selection here?
I am. I think a lot of people are as well. I think after the disappointment of the Great Britain tour, people have been itching for a rejuvenated and a different looking side, and that's what Wane's given us at the present. So so far, there's a lot of new names in there and a lot of exciting talent. So yeah, can't wait to see who he picks for the 24-man for the Ashes at the end of the year.
Jack's excited, I'm excited. We hope you're excited. Please comment and let us know if you agree with Shaun Wane's first picks, who you think he'll pick come the end of the year, his 17-man team for that first Ashes test against Australia. Please subscribe, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and we'll see you next time.